Hello everyone, thank you for having me, Idea, and thank you for having us. So Comhlámh, for people who don't know, is the organisation for international volunteers and development workers, and we try to frame all of our work around development education. My role within that is supporting people after they've returned home, how they can continue their engagement, lifelong activism. For the last 2 years we were working on a project called Volunteering for the Future, and it explored this concept of how organisations can support and facilitate lifelong engagement and active citizenship. The project I'm going to talk about today is what's called, rolls off the tongue, Comhlámh is the title. So International Citizens for Local Perspectives, and it's building on this project, the one that I referenced previously, and it's a European project. So we've got 4 partners. France Volontaire are the lead partner. It's European, so it's France Volontaire are the lead partners based in Paris, and we've got a Slovenian organisation, we've got an Italian organisation, and ourselves in Ireland. And what this project is aiming to do is to bring together 2 groups: returned international volunteers and development workers, and newly arrived forced migrants and people from a migration background, in order to sort of how we can support the organisations and these 2 groups for collective actions towards social justice. So there's different elements to it. The first stage of the project, what we're doing is mapping out who's doing what in the areas. We're very familiar with the VSAs, the volunteer sending agencies, because that's the space we hold, or we work in, but we're trying to bring together much more the organisations, both the bigger organisations like the Red Cross, but also smaller initiatives, Fáilte Isteach, these different organisations that are working with supporting newly arrived migrants and within initiatives around Ireland. So that's the main theme of it. We're developing an app, so you can go onto the Google Store and download this app, and the idea behind it is that you'll be able to go onto this app, and if you're living in Cork or Waterford or Dublin or Monaghan, wherever it is, if you're an organisation and you're looking for people to support your initiative, you'll be able to put your information onto this app, and then if I'm a returned development worker or just interested in getting involved, I can download the app and I'll be able to see what's going on where around Ireland. So if you've got any initiatives that you'd like to, you want involvement in, we'd invite you to put your stuff up there. We're having a day on the 21st of June where we're bringing together the key stakeholders to launch that app, but also about building, we're stronger together as Idea is one of the fundamentals of Idea, working together. So the idea of the 21st is bringing together groups from the 2 different sectors, or these 2 areas, and seeing how we can support each other in these actions in our work. The second part of the project, we're developing a training manual. The idea will be a manual that organisations will be able to use to support their work, whether it's with migrant organisations or it's with VSAs or together, and how they can support active citizenship and support their people they work with to develop these collective actions. We don't want the manual to be something that Comhlámh come up with in the offices in Parliament Street. We want it to be much more a collective development, something that's developed by the stakeholders for the stakeholders. So part of that day will be exploring, pulling out what would people in that area like to get out of it, what would be useful for their and for your work. So if you're interested in coming to the 21st, you can let us know and we'd be happy to invite you. As I mentioned then, the next stage is this training manual. So we'll be taking that feedback and developing the training manual of that. In year 2, so it's a 2-year project, in year 2 we're going to be running training courses. So there's going to be a pan-European training course where we bring together key stakeholders from the different countries together to explore the content of the training manual and to share learning with each other. So it'll be a training and trainers course. The idea that the Irish participants and the Italian participants and the French and the Slovenian, each group of participants will take the learning, go back to the home countries and run a training and trainers course within, in this context, Ireland, to share the learning. So that will be February will be the European one, and sort of March, April next year will be the Irish one. And then we're going to run a training course for, it's mainly focused on young people, and young people in the European context, in this context, is 18 to 30. So what we'll be doing is we'll be running a training, bringing together groups of people from these backgrounds and supporting them to develop collective action, and then we'll be supporting their development with that process for 6 months. The reason 6 months is it's enough to do something, but it's enough to keep the energy going, but it's also it's enough to keep the energy sustained for a long period of time, but also you can actually get something substantial done. And then there'll be a lot of dissemination and sharing of the events. It's a really new project. It only started a couple of months ago, so we haven't actually done any main events yet, so hence the lack of slides and pictures and that too. But it's an exciting project, and we'll look forward to contributing and working with people on this. Cool. Thank you.